Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Alex of Coyote Star Astrology, and this is my full moon in Pisces video for the full moon in Pisces today, September 20th, 2021. Today is a Monday here on Pacific Standard Time. Floating along with these full moon in Pisces vibes, but real quick before we get started on this full moon and the energies that we're sorting through at the moment, I do want to let you guys know that I most likely will not be doing a video for my next video, the new moon coming up. I have surgery at the end of this week on the 24th, and I'm not actually going to be able to talk for a couple weeks. I'm not going to go into the surgery right now because it's a long story and I want to get into the astrology. But if you want to know more about that whole process, follow me on Instagram. I'm going to be talking about that whole journey there, as well as probably posting lots of astrology there because I'm going to have nothing to do but lay in bed and recover and post astrology. So follow me on Earth to Coyote over on Instagram if you don't already. And I'm totally fine. And I'm going to be much better after the surgery. So nothing to worry about. But yes, let's dive into this full moon in Pisces today. Honestly, the energies that we're most feeling is the undertow of this Mercury retrograde that's coming in. We are 6 days from Mercury stationing. Mercury will station retrograde on the 26th of September if you're on Pacific Standard Time. If you want more on that retrograde specifically, you can check out my retrograde video. That is either the video before this or the one before that. But yeah, we are definitely feeling it now. And the big focus is on relationship dynamics because it's a Mercury retrograde in Libra. And so you may be noticing some accumulation of themes surrounding relationships. And, you know, retrogrades are these periods of time when we are encouraged to go within and do some introspection and do some soul searching and do some thinking about, in this case, our relationships and the balance that we have with other people, or sort of like the undercurrents of the energetics and the health of these dynamics. So like we talked about in the Mercury retrograde video, a lot of people are going to be looking at shadow work within their relationships. Because Mercury will station in square to Pluto, we are going to be looking at the shadow of Libra, which is this people-pleasing energy or an inability to speak our truth for fear of upsetting other people or losing other people. And there's also this element I've been really feeling into that many of us just have not been taught how to express ourselves in a healthy way, how to set boundaries in a healthy way. So as a byproduct of that programming, many of us have also developed unhealthy habits to get what we want, or to, you know, establish what we feel is harmony in relationships. So this can often be foregoing what is true for us, and like I said, in order to keep the peace. Or then we're also looking at Venus and Scorpio, which has been squared all this last week. So that's been coming up. And Venus and Scorpio's shadow is manipulation. And often this energetic manipulation is unconscious. It's not often malicious manipulation. More often, it's manipulation out of fear. Oh, if I tell this person what I did or how I really feel, I'm going to lose them, so I'm going to hide it. Or, you know, I'm afraid to express what I'm going through, so I shove that down, and then I start behaving in all of these weird ways because there's resentment or feelings that aren't being expressed, right? So we're looking at these energetics in relationships, and as with any retrograde, there's lots under the surface that starts to rise in our subconscious. For me personally, a lot of this, God, there's been so much coming up. It's crazy. This retrograde is happening on my nodes though. So there you go. It's happening on my south node. So yeah, one thing that's been coming up that I've been noticing is that I have unhealthy patterns around communication because healthy communication wasn't exactly encouraged in my household home. I was like punished for things that I wrote in my diary a couple of times. That is a really crazy wound that I have that I'm realizing is that, you know, as a child, I kept these diaries where I would unload my feelings, and then certain people that were in authority to me would then read these things and then punish me for it. And so I have sometimes an issue, or it's been an issue in my life learning how to speak my truth because I have fear because of being punished and so on and so forth. So I've been noticing things about that coming up. I've been noticing anger coming up about those issues that they happened a really long time ago, you know? So this can definitely happen with retrogrades. We can see these things that happened in what feels like ancient history sort of floating back into our subconscious for healing, for closure, etc. So yeah, over the last week, we may have seen the more unsavory traits of Venus and Scorpio coming up because she's been squared by Saturn over the last week. This has been pressurizing Venus and bringing out kind of like the worst of Venus and Scorpio, which again can be manipulation or sort of these like veiled intentions. Secrets is another shadow of Venus and Scorpio. Codependence or anxious attachment styles. I was hanging out with someone earlier this week or last week, and I asked him his definition of codependency, and I really liked his response. He said that he defined codependency as any attachment style in a relationship that didn't feel like it was authentically coming from the heart, but rather these attachments that are rooted in other things, or these cords that we have that are rooted in intentions that aren't necessarily based in authentically wanting to relate from the heart. You know, Venus in Scorpio or Scorpio archetype in general keeps their cards very close to their chest. So there's this interesting interplay happening where we have all the Libra in the chart. We have Mars in Libra and Mercury in Libra that wants to kind of keep up appearances and everything's fine and be nice and sweep things under the rug. But then we also have the ruler of Libra, Venus in Scorpio, and she wants to dive under the rug and pull all the secrets out, at least in our subconscious. So there's this feeling of, to me, it feels like the collective is undergoing this massive throat chakra blockage, which is super interesting because my surgery is literally on my throat. Funny how that works. It feels like there's a lot of thought about relationships and the people that we love and the people in our lives, but there's a lot that isn't sort of being said, and all of that is starting to come up. And this is great. And that's the whole purpose of this retrograde, is that when Mercury goes direct on October 18th, remember that's a huge day, hopefully all of us can shift this dynamic and come into a more authentic place where we can have these authentic conversations, learn that speaking our truth doesn't mean distance from the right people. When we're with the right people that are in alignment with us, speaking our truth should only bring them closer, right? So, how does the Pisces thing fit in? Well, Pisces is the dissolving of barriers. It's that surrender into unity. It's oneness. It's beyond our individual egos with all of the torments and trials and tribulations of each day and our traumas and our mistakes and all the ways that none of us are perfect. Pisces is beyond all of that. Pisces is nirvana, eternal bliss, enlightenment. It's the realization that you are the other me and I am the other you, and we're all trying our best. It's empathy and compassion. So this full moon and the whole sort of portal around it over the last 24 hours hopefully brought some healing insights into how we can approach these themes, which can feel daunting and frightening. Of course, there's this like internal fear when we're dealing with Libra of separation from others. Hopefully this Pisces full moon can be a healing salve of how we can approach this with wisdom, seeing that each one of us is medicine for each other. I had a really funny Pisces full moon moment last night. I got in bed super early. I took some CBD from a friend. I don't actually smoke cannabis because I'm super, super sensitive, but I had some cramps and a friend brought over some CBD. So I took it and was laying there in the dark, falling asleep for about an hour. And then all of a sudden, realized that I was completely tripping. Like, was having these thoughts that were steadily getting more and more psychedelic, and then all of a sudden was like, holy crap. I think I literally thought I was on mushrooms. I was having like full-on DMT visual. I'm very, very sensitive. I only use plant medicines if I'm like doing deep inner work for that reason. So anyways, it took me a minute to figure out what had happened. And I roll over and I grab my phone and I look at the chart, and sure enough, the moon was, I think it was at like 17 or 18 degrees, already getting close to Neptune. You can see the moon's with Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, for this full moon. And it was right on my Jupiter in Pisces in my 12th house. Totally blasting into the astral realm, right? And so yeah, I had like a few minutes of resistance because I was just like, shit, I got in bed because I got in bed early because I wanted to go to sleep early, and now I'm tripping my balls off, and there was a lot coming up. But I surrendered and I went into it, and holy shit, it was exactly what I'm talking about. I was shown so many different ways. I was shown so many different lenses of the relationships in my life and patterns that are playing out and my part in those patterns and the other person's part in these patterns. And my heart chakra was totally blown open. So I was able to see it all from this that I'm exactly talking about, a place of compassion and empathy and forgiveness, not just for each individual person and their own humanness, definitely that as well, but also just for like humanity and everything we're going through right now. So anyways, it was super profound. It was exactly what I needed. I ended up going to sleep when it subsided hours later. But that's really sort of the essence of what this full moon feels like to me, is it lifts us out of the 3D a little bit, which, you know, Pisces is known for. And that's sort of what we see here in the chart. You know, we've got the moon, and Neptune makes this full moon super powerful, super dreamy, super elevated, in opposition to the sun in Virgo, which is super earthy, very 3D, very controlled, wanting things to be perfect. Conjunct Mars in Libra, again, wanting to, I think the essence of this whole retrograde is like, we want peace in our relationships, but we also want to honor what's authentic for us, our needs, our boundaries. So yeah, we are on the ride, getting close to the Mercury station day. So just a reminder, on the 26th, and pretty much every day until the 26th, we're going to feel this increase and increase and increase. It's going to tighten and tighten because Mercury is slowing down. And over this coming week, you can see that Venus, who was just squared by Saturn, is then going to be opposed by Uranus. This is going to be interesting because Uranus always gives us that objectivity, the ability to stand back and look at our behavior and see it from another perspective outside of our own narrative and our stories and all that stuff. So over the next week, you'll definitely be noticing, as Uranus opposes Venus, you might notice ways that you unconsciously manipulate or play games. Game playing is like a big thing with all of this. When we have so much Libra that likes to sweep things under the rug, and then we've got the Scorpio element that's also a little bit like secretive. So just be noticing over this next week what Uranus is trying to teach us about all of that. And then, yeah, getting closer and closer to October, our big month when everything moves forward. All right, you guys. Well, happy full moon. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and a share. I really appreciate it. And I guess I probably won't be seeing you here next week. Or in 2 weeks. I'm so sad. I'll try, but if I can't, I will be again. I'll be over on my Instagram, so make sure to follow me over there. If you guys would like to reach out to me for a reading, I'm definitely still taking readings, so feel free to reach out to me at my website. I'll put it up there on the screen, coyotestarastrology.com, and we can get you booked. All right, everyone, have a beautiful full moon in Pisces, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.